It is time for Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. We go into the printing press. We got the article written, got the game story, got all the stats in there. We just need the headline.
Oh, okay. That's all you need?
That's all we need.
That's why I'm an expert at that. Hold on. Just tell me. I got it. Okay,
Your one
cool.
job at this newspaper is to come up with 2 headlines for, not even all of them, for the NFL. Chiefs defeat the Panthers closer than we thought.
Yes.
By 3, 30-27. Your headline for this one is?
By a whisker.
Panthers whisker.
Kitty cat.
Kansas City 10-1 for the 4th time in franchise history. John Ardell says, and this kind of goes hand in hand with your headline, the Chiefs are extremely adept at making everyone believe they're not very good, can barely win games.
Right.
I believe it's partially on purpose to lull others. They're capable of turning it on when it is required.
That there is truth to that.
Yeah.
You know, that they have been, like Florio always says, they play with their food. They play up and down to their competition for the most part.
It's like they're bored.
Right? Now, let me say this. With them, I think I do go, and I tried to say this to you a little, and this is, I've been thinking about it all week a little bit, the Chiefs a little, since last Sunday. 40 years of my life wants to say they can't go to the Super Bowl like this. They can't. Like we talked about a little on Wednesday, the defense isn't as good, right? The offense still concerns me. You know, the way they play some of these games, all of it. But the fact of what they did at the end of last year is like the only thing I can't say about them with that. I can't. But, yeah, this wasn't impressive. Now, what was impressive was that one of their better offensive showings. Mahomes, the pass game, I think looked as good as it's looked all year. They really never got stopped by the Panthers all day. They might have settled for field goals at times and stuff like that. But, you know, as far as like the Chiefs and Mahomes, they did what they wanted for the most part of the football day. And kind of touchdown, Carolina kept scoring field goals, and then as the game went on, now that was the concerning thing, is Carolina moved the ball in Kansas City all day long. It's just that early in the game, Kansas City scored touchdowns and Carolina settled for field goals, but as the game went along, Carolina started to punch it in the end zone a little bit and made it a game. Bryce Young looked good. I do think he's turned the corner here ever since his benching and the fact that he looks like a starting caliber NFL quarterback. They still got to get a few more pieces around him, but he looked comfortable. He makes a few plays every game where I go, ooh, nice play, nice throw, Bryce Young, way to go. So they got that going. But, yeah, I thought it was a little concerning overall with the way they moved the ball up and down the field on the Chiefs' defense today.
I mean, they really did. What they did last year made it impossible for us to have any comment on the Chiefs. We have to withhold our commentary until it's all done.
I was trying to say this to Jason Garrett and McCourty a little bit in the back viewing room today, too, and to the guys, because it's always like we always have at one point of the day, it's like, okay, so how do we want to explain the Chiefs today? And, like, you know, everyone's like, well, they just get it done, right? That's like what you want to say. But that's where I brought it up, and I know Mahomes had the good day and the 3 touchdown passes, and that's all fine and dandy, and I love that. But still, I just sit here and still go, yeah, 10-1, right? I know they're winning football games, but so many of them have not been super impressive. And like I said, I don't think the defense is as good as years past. We'll see where it goes. Hopefully they can continue this offensive momentum and find some ways to throw the ball. But I don't think it's a very good Carolina defense.
Yeah.
They can't rush the passer at all. Mahomes had all day in the pocket at times. And I just think it was the perfect matchup for them to kind of make some plays. And having said all of that, it was 27-all, and Mahomes had to make an incredible scramble to put them into field goal position to win the football game.
Now, that one I was almost ready to be like, I don't kind of like it because Mahomes, and he didn't really do the okey doke. He wasn't that close to the sideline.
But
when I first saw it, I was like, that's tough for the defense, right? Because of all quarterbacks you don't want to have hit, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. You know they're going to protect him, but he really wasn't that close to the sideline. I think it was 23 for Carolina.
I do think to your point, though, there's 2 defenders who kind of were like, oh, he's about to go out of bounds. There's especially one that was trailing him and chasing him who kind of looked like he pulled up a little like, oh, he's going out of bounds, and then he cuts it up the field. And he is. He's the master at it. He is. Good win by them, 10-1. I'm sure they were a little bit – this is the other aspect of this too. Deflated. The undefeated season's over. We got Carolina. We could beat them with one eye closed, right? Yeah. I think there's a little aspect of that. There was no fear probably the whole week in this game as far as we might lose to Carolina. But that's also the mindset that'll lead you into a really close football game.
And they didn't. They are 10-1, as you mentioned. A career achievement here for Andy Reid. 3rd head coach now with 19 or more seasons with 10 or more wins. He joins Shula.
Oh, okay. I was going to try to answer it.
And
Belichick.
You would have got that.
Yeah,
easily,
I did.
right?
Yeah, right.
That was too easy for you.
I
would have insulted you.
How many say the stat again, though? What is it
so
again?
19 or
19?
more seasons with 10 or more wins.
That is incredible.
Right?
Incredible. Upper room of the upper room. That's
Upper
where
room
Andy
of the upper
Reid's
room.
going right there into the Hall of Fame.
Sean Payton kind of trying to get into some rooms of the Hall of Fame here. If he can do it with the Denver Broncos, he'll be there. Broncos beat the Raiders by 10. Your headline for this one is...
Heaving Las Vegas.
There we go.
Heaving Las Vegas.
Bo Nix was heaving it.
Heaving Las Vegas. That was my Travis Kelce after the Super Bowl. You remember that?
I like that. That is
I
good.
know it's not Viva, but I went heaving Las Vegas.
Heaving, yeah, it's fairly close. All right, fine.
He's mad.
Heavy Nick.
That I took my own
Knicks.
fix.
Yeah.
My own fix on this whole thing.
Yeah.
Pete wanted heaving Las Vegas like the movie, but when I said it out loud, I just, instead of Viva Las Vegas, I like this better, so I went with this.
This is Chris's one job at the newspaper. Don't take this from him here, Pete. This is alluding to Bo Nix was heaving it to Cortland Sutton a couple times.
Yeah.
They got a good connection, and Bo Nix continues to look good, and this Broncos team, offensively, defensively, looks like a fairly complete team.
I think so, too. I mean, again, are they the best team in football? No. But the one theme and what I do like about this time of the year is, do you know who you are? And they do. They go, we're defense. We're going to run the ball. We're going to do play-action passes down the field with Bo Nix. And if you start playing too deep, we got a few cue wrinkles to throw the ball on a screen pass or a swing pass to Marvin Mims that'll keep you honest that way. That's what I like about them. But, yeah, I continue to be impressed with what I see from the Broncos and the way they play. I like that. This game, 29-19, really, like, Raiders did a good job. Raiders are still playing hard. You got to say that. Antonio Pierce, they certainly didn't give up here today. The game started with a big kick return. That set them up for the short field touchdown. Okay. Then they faked a punt later on in the game where they were 4th and, 5 or 6. And got a huge play out of it for like a 30, 35-yard game that set up a field goal for them to go up 10-6. So really, the third phase of football there kind of kept the Raiders alive, or at least in a spot where they were winning the football game there for a while. But eventually it just became too much work for the Raiders offense to continue to move the football. We saw that. Gardner Minshew had a bad turnover and unfortunately hurt his shoulder.
Broken collarbone.
Is that the official thing there?
Yeah, so you saw Desmond Ridder come in, and he will be the quarterback.
Yeah,
forward.
and that to me was probably the part of the game where it got out of hand, right? It was 13-9 Raiders. The Raiders had the ball, third quarter. He overthrows the in-cut. It gets intercepted, I believe, by Brandon Jones, the safety for the Denver Broncos. He has a pretty good return, and then it became heaving Las Vegas. Cortland Sutton was open, and it was heaving Las Vegas.
So this is Denver's first win at the Raiders since they were in Oakland in 2015. So
wow.
It's been a long time.
Holy crap, is that right?
Since they have done this. Raider Johnny has something for you. He goes, I'll admit it. Bo Nix is a franchise quarterback and worthy of a top 12 pick. ... I was wrong. ... Touche. You have made Raider Johnny admit that he made a mistake in evaluating Bo Nix.
I appreciate Raider Johnny is a man's man kind of comment right there. Right, you're welcome to the podcast. You self-scout thyself, just like we do here. That's okay. You're not going to be right all the time. I'm not, and I know a lot of football, and I've been around a lot of damn good football players. So yes, I don't want to, like, Bo Nix looks awesome to me. It's just the look. Again, I'm not saying it's like 500 yards and just all of it. I'm just going the comfort, the athlete, the way the ball is flying out of his hand, it jumps out to me, right? Now, he's still going to make some mistakes, and we know all that in either way. But I feel like he's really understanding what Sean Payton wants to do on offense. He understands, and I know Sean communicates this way anyways, like, when I call this play, I'm thinking this. And he's like, okay, he's calling the play. He's like, all right, I know what he's told me. He's thinking, this guy's open or this guy's open, and then just throw it to the running back. Okay, like, so he's being taught at a phenomenally high level. He's an extension of Peyton on the field. He's going to be a mini Drew Brees, but a mini Drew Brees maybe with more physical ability, which is the impressive thing. And that's a high bar. I hear you there. We'll see where they go, but I think they're a pain in the ass the Broncos, and they continue to get better as we go on here.
It's one of those teams where you're like, you talk about the Rams this way. I think the Broncos even more.
Yeah.
Like in the playoffs, you're like, you don't want to play.
I agree. They're better than the Rams. I think they are a better complete football team than the Rams. This defense is dangerous. We've talked about Sutton. He's the best corner in football. Our man Nick Bonito, who we talked about the other day, as far as a pass rusher, under-talked about guys, gets a big strip sack in the football game in a big moment that kind of locked it away there. And set up the 20 to make it 29-16 and kind of end the football game. They got playmakers on both sides of the ball. You'd love for them to have one more receiver that was kind of like really scary, but they're finding ways to throw the ball down the field to Valet. I hope I said that right.
Well, by the end of the year, we'll figure that out.
And then they're finding ways to get Marvin Mims the ball in space, and he is their most explosive player on offense when he is in space.
Yeah, it's actually turning into a very fun team.
Yeah, they
watch,
are.
And we haven't been able to say that about the Broncos here lately. That was Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.